Hello, it's John S's Sports Channel, and we're going to go quickly through League One Week 21 review. And we start with Friday with Cambridge versus Huddersfield. We thought that Huddersfield would win it 2-1, but we thought that Cambridge would actually have the nous to be able to do some of their amazing defensive work. It was Cambridge 0, Huddersfield 4. All I can say for this is that Huddersfield were actually on the whole made to shoot from distance, and their best shots came from. In fact, I think all of them were either came from long crosses in, or they were initiated by long crosses in. So Cambridge just couldn't handle those long probing crosses into the box, and it showed. However, Cambridge did. They had 37% possession, 13 shots, and 3 of them on target. They'll be disappointed they didn't get more on target, and they'll be disappointed they didn't get a goal or two. 63% possession to Huddersfield. Yeah, we would have expected something like that. 16 shots at target, 10 on target. Wow, 4 goals. They'd have come away feeling really happy about this. On the whole, both sides were made to shoot from distance. And I know you're going to say, yeah, but those goals were actually close-up shots on target. Yeah, but the cross came from distance for that final bang into the net or head down against the bar and then tapped in. But the initial move that caused the defence to open up was actually the initial long ball into the box. And that's what was happening. If you wanted to get a goal, you had to start shooting from distance. Cambridge did it, Huddersfield did it. Cambridge did it 13 times, they tried, but they just couldn't get close enough to get it into the net. Indeed, they only got it on target 3 times. So we don't get anything for that, and we'll move straight on to the next game, which I believe is Stockport versus Peterborough. Now, Stockport versus Peterborough, we thought there'd be lots of goals in this. We went Stockport 3, Peterborough 2. 2 goals off here. Suffering from Christmas. And Stockport County 2, Peterborough 1. So 1 goal each, less than what we thought. We did think it was going to be a lot more. Let's see what the game gave us, shall we? So Stockport County started really well. They should have been 1 or 2 nil up before they got the first goal, to be honest. Stockport County played really well all the way through the game. Peterborough had their bits where they played really well. I don't think they were ever out of this game, and the first goal I think really gave them some impetus to say, we could actually do something here. A completely amazing goal, wasn't it? The footwork and the to get past, God knows how many defenders he got past. Was it 2, 3? And then to cut it round the back and then in, cross it in, was just amazing. Great piece of work there by whoever it was who had that amazing footwork. Certainly one to watch. If he can pull that off more often, then Peterborough should be seeing themselves jump quite highly up that league. 13th went before the game. They can. It's Christmas, halfway through the season. Teams above them aren't doing spectacularly well, apart from the ones we know that are most likely going up. So Peterborough could do a little bit more if they could, tap into that amazing talent there. Stockport County, though, they made sure they won this one. To be quite honest, there were several chances that Stockport had which opened up the defence of Peterborough a little bit too easily, might I say. And they should have been at least 4-1 up, 4-1 winners here, and perhaps should have been on a different day. We said 3-2 to Stockport. It was 2-1 to Stockport, so we'll take a correct result on that one, and we'll move on to Wycombe versus Bolton, I think it is. Yep, Wycombe versus Bolton, the last one on Friday. This is one of the ones that we actually got right. We actually got this one right. See, I said Wycombe 2, Bolton 2. Lots of people saying, oh, it's bound to be Wycombe, it's bound to be Wycombe. But Bolton have been doing well. They've been showing signs that they can actually put one or two games together where they do turn up and they do play well. And then occasionally they just don't. And it's a thing in League One, and there's one or two teams in Championship doing it as well. 2-1, 3-1, 2-1, and a 2-2 are the main scores I saw. I chose 2-2, thinking, yeah, Bolton could do this. They could come away with a draw. They did. It was Wycombe 0, Bolton 0, and yeah, Wycombe managed to come out of this one without all 3 points. Not only that, but the percentage play. 47% to Wycombe, 53% to Bolton, 11 shots to Wycombe, which isn't great. 5 shots to Bolton, yeah, on target. 11 shots to Wycombe at target, 5 shots on target. No goals. They'll be disappointed not to have got a goal from 5 on target. For Bolton, 53% possession, 7 shots, 3 on target, no goals. And again, they'd probably be disappointed that they didn't get one or two more on target and 1 or 2 more shots. But if you look at that in the number of shots in a total of 18 for the whole game, this game was destined to be rather a dull game, I'm afraid, which we didn't expect. However, it doesn't look as boring. It doesn't look as boring on all the videos that I've watched. It actually looks quite exciting. The only thing I will say is that the 8 shots at target and they were, I think, almost desperation. Some of them, like, we need to shoot, so we'll shoot. Some of them were absolutely brilliant. Some of them were brilliant. How on earth that last minute one didn't go in? The Wycombe goalkeeper, wasn't it? Where the hell did he see that one coming from? Because it went through a crowd of players, and he just happened to be on the other end of it. So there's been a couple of really good goalkeeping moments in that to keep it at 0-0, I must admit. And not quite as boring as what the stats would say. And this is what I say, stats don't tell the whole story. The game was actually quite different. But 0-0, was that about right? Yeah, it was. They were both equally as good up front. They were both equally as good in defence. Some of the shooting was a bit lax on both sides. Didn't really see how on earth Wycombe are where they are in the table from that performance, because that's certainly a top 10 class of play. But yeah, I didn't see, we'd need to be able to play in the Championship. We need to be able to get some of those that were wayward on target, and some of them where the players are like in the box and it comes across and somehow they just kick it out of play, and you're thinking it would have been easier to have hit the target. So yeah, great game. Good to watch, actually. Even though there was only 8 shots on target, it was actually quite a decent game to watch. On the replays, please tell me what you think if you went to the game. And now we go to Saturday's games. If I don't stand this cough I've got. And we're going to go to Wycombe. We've gone Bristol Rovers versus Wrexham. Now, I was shocked. I opened up the. I did do a live, but my live stream wasn't producing any sound. And yeah, if you do come on, because a couple of people did, a few people did, but they disappeared. Please do tell me that the sound's not working. Don't just disappear. However, I don't think I'll be doing too many of them in future. There's not enough people turn up. I saw Wrexham without a back 5. Absolutely, it was a midfield 5. It was a 3-5 and some. I can't remember what there was up front, but it was 3 in defence, 5 in midfield. And I thought, they're going to get caught out here, aren't they? Because Bristol Rovers if they turn up, will be absolutely stumped by the fact that they're not playing a back five. They have all season. We expected Wrexham to turn up with a back five. There's a good chance Bristol Rovers won't turn up and we'll get a 2-0 win to Wrexham. Not what happened. We got 2 goals, but that's about all we got right, I'm afraid. And certainly that is what happened. Bristol Rovers set out to play a back five, I think, and it just didn't happen. And all of a sudden you've got Wrexham playing higher up the pitch than what you expect them to. And I did see, I think, Bristol Rovers pull a 5 across the back. And several times they come forward, Wrexham, and you'd see, this large blue line, and it did actually work. Okay, they didn't have much time in the Wrexham penalty area. However, that back line that they seemed to sort of suddenly pull back to after going behind was just critical to this game. 49% possession to Bristol Rovers, only 3 shots in the entire game. 1 on target, 1 in the net. That's what it's all about, guys, isn't it? Their plan worked. 51% possession to Wrexham. 14 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal. I see Wrexham not having a huge amount of possession quite often. But they still managed to get several on target and several goals, and it's weird how that back five works. And I was interested to see how this back middle five worked and a back three. It did seem to work for them, but they need to get more on target, and I don't know why putting 5 in midfield suddenly made the front line unable to shoot on target. Tell me what you think, guys, because I am actually quite interested in that. Because was it just a bad day at the office for the strike force? Who knows? I mean, Ollie Rathbone, we know he can score brilliant shots from there, and it just swung off to the goalkeeper's right hand post and out. And you think, that's not him, So please do tell me what you think about the game, Bristol Rovers versus Wrexham, because it ended at 1-1. We said it was going to be 2-0 to Wrexham. Don't get anything to that, and we'll move straight on to Lincoln versus Reading. So Lincoln fans will be happy. 2-0 to Lincoln. A red card to Holzman for Reading. I don't know whether that was on purpose or not, to be quite honest. I think they just got the legs mixed up. They were running really. I mean, if you run close to someone else, so I'm a runner, and I do. The start line can be absolute hell with people really close up to you. And I know for a certain, if you're running and looking straight ahead, and you're thinking, I want to just push him over there. Pushing is great, but your legs are doing quite a speed, and you often forget where you haven't got time to think about where your legs are in relation to the other guys, and getting tangled up is sometimes inevitable. I think from his face, I would say that's what's happened. I don't think it was purposeful, although realistically, where the pair were, you could see that it probably was purposefully tussling with each other so that they could both get away with the ball. But I don't know, 50-50 on that. Tell me what you think. 64% possession to Lincoln. They did really run this game, especially after the sending off, I think. 15 shots, 7 on target, really good. 2 goals. Yeah, they'll be really happy with that. And they played good football. Not excellent football, but good football. And I'm sure the Lincoln fans will be thinking, this is different from what they have been seeing. They've been seeing a quite poor side. When they played Rotherham, that was a poor side. It was a poor show by Lincoln, I thought. But this is better. This is a lot better. Reading, on the other hand, 36% possession, 4 shots, 1 on target, no goals. Just didn't work for them on the day. I think they turned up. I think they did turn up to do something. But they were just taken aback by the fact that Lincoln were playing such better football than what anybody expected, because they had been playing quite poorly. Did they did they expect to win it and go in there a little bit too blasé? Perhaps they did. You're above them in 6th. They're in 9th. They're not playing very well. They're going down to 9th. You've gone up to 6th. Surely we're going to win it. Tell me, Reading fans, is that what they did? Because something went wrong, and I'm not quite sure in this one either which way that is. Why did Reading just not perform on that day? Because they certainly didn't. You see by the figures that they didn't. What did we say? We said Lincoln 2, Reading 1. It was Lincoln 2, Reading 0. We'll go for that, and we'll accept that one with gracious rewards, I think. Yeah, and we'll move on to Barnsley versus Leyton Orient and see what happened there. Well, I think Barnsley got taught how to play football. Barnsley 7th, Leyton Orient 18th before the game. Barnsley actually had 58% possession, and they did pass it a little bit better than Leyton Orient. Only a little bit though. 347 passes to 253. They weren't connecting quite that much more than what Leyton Orient were. 11 shots, 1 on target. I mean, they would have been kicking themselves after that. None in the net, obviously. Leyton Orient, 42% possession, 11 shots at target again, just the same. But this time they got 7 shots on target and 4 goals. Goalkeeper error for one. He should never come out that far. I remember Victor Johansson doing that at Portsmouth for Rotherham, and we lost 3-0. He did it twice, I think, and Portsmouth just tipped it over him, and somebody put it in the net. You can't do that. The defence seemed to be at 6s and 7s as well in Barnsley. There were several. I mean, certainly the first one, I saw several Barnsley players pushing the other Barnsley player, and you're thinking, no, what are you doing? Deal with the bloody Orient player. Bang, back of the net. And you're thinking, no, what are they doing? Don't think about think about the opposition, not your mates. You're playing with them, not against them, and I just sort of despaired by that defensive, the defensive attitude in Barnsley, I think, just seemed to not be there, and it was more about self than it was about the opposition. So it was Barnsley 0, Leyton Orient 4. Now, Leyton Orient have been doing really well. I will say that. And we did say Barnsley 2, Leyton Orient 2. So that was... really am bad, aren't I? That was actually... We did edge it towards the Leyton Orient side in there. And we did get 4 goals as well. We just didn't get them the right way around. So we don't get anything from that, and we move on to Blackpool versus Stevenage. So Blackpool 0, Stevenage 0. I want to go to the claim for a penalty by the Stevenage guy, which is laughable. The guy was side on to the Blackpool guy, and he's running right in front. So he's running in front of him. The Blackpool guy, if you look, lifts his leg up backwards. How the hell is he supposed to have tripped you up when he's lifted his leg backwards, you Burke? Please. And then he's going, sat on the ground going, I'm on the floor. Well, of course you are. You've just dove onto the floor. You should be getting a yellow card for it. Grow up. Right, rant over. Blackpool 0, Stevenage 0. Blackpool 48% possession, 12 shots, 2 on target, no goals. There were some cracking shots in there. There were some cracking shots. And, you'd be... If I now say it was Stevenage 53% possession, 14 shots, 3 on target, no goals, you're thinking, well, it's a boring game, wasn't it? Because there were only 5 shots on target in the entire game. Yeah, it was a little bit, but a handful of those shots off target were absolute crackers. And the shots on target were on the whole, extremely good, with some brilliant saves. So it was sort of like a mixture. This game is a mixture of being. If I was a fan now, I can see there being far too much time where it was just shot haphazardly. But those haphazard shots were quite often really, really good. And had they just been a foot or two the other direction, they would have been on target in the net. Which side deserved it? I think 0-0 was about the right score. I really do. Blackpool 1, Stevenage 0 is what we said. From looking at it, I think Blackpool, to me, just edged it. But Stevenage showed their resilience and so like, look, they're pushing us back. But we're not going to just pull back and give in. We're going to push back and try and keep our high press just as high. And good for them, because it did work, and it did stop them from Blackpool from quite having that constant impetus which they had for the first few minutes, I think. So yeah, it was fair. 0-0. We said 1-0 to Blackpool, and we'll move to Burton versus Exeter. Yeah, we said 1-1. And this was one of those games where everybody's going either way and down the middle. Yeah, really weird one to predict, this one. We said 1-1. Let's have a look. I thought Burton started well. And straight up to that goal, they certainly were playing some good football. And they were actually on top, I thought. And the crowd was really good. I've noticed a lot of quiet crowds that Saturday. Burton wasn't one of them. Really good. Well done, Burton fans. But then Exeter could have won this by more, couldn't they? 3 or 4 at least. There were some really good chances and some really good shots. And was it not for the Burton goalkeeper? I think it would have been probably a lot more than this. Exeter played well. They showed resilience. They showed what they can do. And it's no surprise that Exeter have gone up into the top half of the table at the sort of the first third quarter of the season. They were really playing some good football. They seem to have got that back, and they seem to be, because they had a little bit of a period where they just didn't quite play as good as they had done for the first bit of the season. But now they seem to have got their mojo back, and yeah, there's a couple of haphazard shots in there, but they played really well. Burton at the end, when they let that goal in, that winning goal for Exeter, have a look at some of the players in the Burton side. The Burton guy that lost it, for instance, he just stood there, and it was as if he's not in the game. He's just walking around. And when the shot went in, there was all the defenders, about 3 defenders there, just standing still. I mean, why are you standing still, waiting for him to shoot? Get in position for when he shoots. They just seem to stand in position like skittles. We'll let him have a shot, and hopefully it won't go in. But it did. So 2-1 to Exeter. What did we say? We said 1-1. We thought this would be a bit more even, because Burton have been playing quite well, and I think they've been just improving steadily. They didn't improve today. On that day, they definitely didn't. Burton had one of their lapse days where they'd been improving all this time, but against Exeter at home, they just didn't improve at all. In fact, if anything, they got worse. They slipped back into some of their antics from the beginning, where defenders just stand still while the attackers just take pot shots at goal. Not good enough. So we didn't get anything there, and we move on to Mansfield versus Rotherham. And I'm ashamed to be a Rotherham fan. Really am. What a palaver. We'll talk about this in a minute. But let's first go to the stats. Mansfield Town, 48% possession, 7 shots, 4 on target. They did really well. I think they would have been a bit upset that they didn't get more shots at all. So like 7 shots in total. But that's what Mansfield have been doing. Not quite shooting as often as they should. However, this time 4 shots on target, 1 goal. Yeah, that's reasonable. Well taken goal. I'll come to that later. It's just laughable, really is. 52% possession to Rotherham. Didn't look like it. 7 shots. Maybe you could count some of those flailed attempts as shots. 1 on target. Well saved. Rotherham 0. A defender gets a ball, heads it. He's on the back line. The line was nice and clear. He heads it across goal. Duh. Fortunately to another Rotherham player. Who then heads it out. Straight to the feet of a Mansfield player. What? So we've headed it from away from goal all the way across to the middle of goal, and then we head it down to a Mansfield. What are you thinking? Rotherham's defence was... Well, where was the right side of defence? Number of times that Mansfield just went down their left, and there's no Rotherham player there. God knows where he was, missing action, just gone. And I go straight into the corner and cross it, and you're thinking, surely we've got somebody on the right side of defence, because I can't see that we're going to have nobody there. And it happened all the way through the game. Rotherham were inept. They had a couple of really good shots. I do agree. Some of those shots were, well, we did some. We did 7. A couple of those shots were really good. But they flew past the goal and high or wide, to the great cheers of Mansfield fans. Now, I wasn't there because I'm on the south coast, but I was watching it on the internet. I didn't hear what the crowd were saying, and apparently they were saying some pretty nasty things towards the manager. And Steve Evans came out later saying he thought some of what the fans were saying were pretty disgusting, and he was really upset by it. Steve, you should be upset by it, because we're upset by watching this crap. It's rubbish. It's awful. I've put a bet on Rotherham getting relegated. And to be quite honest, we're now in 18th position on 23 points. Crawley are in 21st on 19. Just 4 points behind us. But not only that, we've got Bristol Rovers below us, who are playing quite well. We've got Crawley below us, who are definitely playing quite well. Cambridge were improving every few games. And Burton, who I've just said, have been playing well and improving slightly, but have just stopped this week. There are sides below us that can get above us, and he needs to get his act into gear, because what we saw in the game before Saturday was great. Well planned, well organised, brilliant win. But this was... I wouldn't mind if it was a good game of football, but it wasn't. Not for Rotherham. Mansfield it was. You played well. Again, you didn't get enough shots out. You really do need to get more shots out. The correct score here should have been 3-0 to Mansfield. Absolutely. They should be putting more off even not at target. Shots at all seem to be quite low for them. 7 shots in that game, and they were well on top. Let's face it. They should have been shooting at goal a lot more than that. We would have expected at least 14, 15 shots from them, but they're just not making them. And my friend from Mansfield, if he's listening to this one, you should have won at least 3-0 there. And we didn't get anything there. What did we say? We said 2-1 to Rotherham. We thought that Evans might have learnt a lesson, and he'll not do the same old. He didn't play. He didn't do hoofball. Not all the time. It was crosses, but there were some really poor ones and really stupid defending. Um, so we'll quickly move on to that. We didn't get anything there. Northampton Charlton, please, we get a better result here. This is actually a game where it did go the way that we thought it would do. Although there were a fair few people that thought it might go 0-0 because Charlton just haven't been showing that clinical edge, that technical ability that they have been showing right at the beginning. Seems to have just slid off a little bit. Not today, was it? Not today. Northampton played their usual okay football. I mean, it certainly wasn't dreadful, I don't think, but they do have to improve. They played pretty much like they have done for the last few games. Charlton, on the other hand, did manage to get hold of this game by the scruff of the neck. And although they didn't have the majority of possession, when they had the ball, they had this technical ability that they've had in the first few games, in the first quarter of the season, in fact. Northampton 0, Charlton 5. And you look at the times, 9 minutes, 68 minutes, 12 minutes, 36, 90 plus 1. It wasn't just in one portion of the game, and the goals show that. It was through the entire match. 49% possession to Northampton, but they only managed to get 5 shots, 1 on target, no goals. Because they were constantly fighting against this superior technical ability that Charlton were at last showing that they had. Charlton, 51% possession, 15 shots. This is something Mansfield need to learn from, isn't it? 7 shots on target, 5 goals. Like I said, the technical ability and the clinical finishing here was far superior to Northampton's. We went with 2-0 to Charlton, mainly because that was it was all 0-0 or 2-0 to Charlton. I thought, I'm going to choose something that you lot said. So I went with 2-0. I probably would have gone a little bit more because Northampton, to me, haven't improved at all and haven't changed their style of football at all. Whereas Charlton have started to get back into that, can we get that technical ability back? And they did. So we'll get a correct result. We'll get a correct result. We didn't get a correct score. And we go to Wigan versus Shrewsbury Town. This game was more even than you think. Wigan 2, Shrewsbury 2 probably was a good... it probably was a fair result. Wigan started well, going 2-0 up, and 52% possession, 10 shots, 3 on target, 2 goals. 3 on target and 2 goals is bloody good, isn't it? But look at Shrewsbury, 48% possession, 8 shots, 3 on target, 2 goals. Hey, the kid, my God, you were both pretty good. However, that first goal for Shrewsbury was a cracker of an own goal. It really did see. For me, it showed. It showed that Shrewsbury can play well. They can actually play well. All of a sudden, they came back. They started going for things that kicks and balls and tackles, whereas they would have just left it up to that point. But 67 minutes and then to decide to play football and actually tackle people and go for the ball, all of a sudden they came into it, and I thought that that's when their percentage of play went up. I thought that they played actually quite well after that. Once they'd gone 2-1 behind, or pulled it back to 2-1, they started to think, they had faith in themselves. Hey, if we can make them do that once, why not do it again? And it shows with, if you see the pace change of the Shrewsbury guy. I don't know if it was George Lloyd or whether he'd been given it, but the pace of the guy that saw the ball just come out and bounce in front of him. And he suddenly, the change of pace was absolutely amazing. Like going from a sort of jog to a sprint, gets the ball, crosses it in, and absolutely perfectly passed. I think it was to another player, wasn't it? And a cross passed, tapped in at the near post. Same post, same part of the ground where it rolled over. But they did deserve that. They did. They came back fighting Shrewsbury, and it's something we've not seen from Shrewsbury. And once again, you look at the teams like mine, Rotherham coming down doing garbage. If these teams start to get these odd points and the odd win, we were certainly saying that they've got no chance of getting out of that. I mean, 24th position, and Ainsworth really not doing a great job. In this instance, it worked, and if they can do that for the entire game, not just after the 67th minute, they can get out of it. Absolutely, they can get out of it. I don't see why not. Wigan, you just... it was a little bit haphazard in defence. I don't know why I'd love to hear from the Wigan fans why you managed to let 2 in, because I was looking at the defence on in both occasions, and I didn't really see anything really wrong. So I'd be really happy for a few comments from Wigan fans, because how they managed to get back into it when your defence looked quite resilient and quite solid is a little bit of a puzzle. Another one, that's 3 games that I've just got a little bit of a question for the fans for, because it's to me, I couldn't quite see where it went wrong, if indeed it did at all. Is it just because that Shrewsbury stepped up the pace after you'd scored in your own net? Perhaps it was. Please do tell me. And we move on. It was 1-2-2. We didn't go to the result, did we? We said 2-1. It was 2-2, so we don't get anything. And we move on to our last game, which is Crawley versus Birmingham. And so we go to... it's not Sundays, it's Monday, I believe. So we thought Crawley, although this is the thing about it, and it actually played out to how we thought this might go. See, Crawley have been improving, but only for 45 minutes of the game. But we thought because it's Birmingham, superior quality, superior technical ability, that 45 minutes where they don't play their excellent football, they'll get punished by this superior team called Birmingham, and Stansfield was almost certainly going to score. So we said 4-1. I went right to the top level. You were saying 2-0 to Birmingham, 3-1, 4-1, 2-1. So I went with the 4-1 suggestion, because I thought that's really where it was probably going to go. In the end, it was only 1-0 to Birmingham. And I think that's testament to the fact that Crawley are playing better football for longer periods of the game. But I still think that there's a period where they don't quite play their excellent football that they've started to play in the other 45 minutes. So we have to look at the stats. 38% possession to Crawley, 5 shots, none on target. No, they weren't. No, it blocked. It got blocked, didn't it? I swear they got one blocked in the second half, but it's not counting. 62% to Birmingham, 11 shots, 4 on target. They should be shooting more than that. But Crawley's goalkeeper was stupendous, wasn't he? Some of those shots, where the hell did he see the Stansfield bounce off the floor and go ricocheting into the top corner, top left-hand corner? It had his name on the back of the net, didn't it? And he saved it. I mean, where did he come from? Played really well. The goalkeeper played really well for Crawley. Again, they played quite well, Crawley, and in the second half. But that was when Birmingham started to up the ante as well. They played really well in the first half, Birmingham, but just not good enough to break the back of Crawley. And Crawley were they were letting them in, and they were letting them have really good shots. But thanks to the goalkeeper and the fact that the shots were from a little bit of a distance, Birmingham just didn't have that finishing quality in the first half. In the second half, they didn't either. I mean, 4 shots, one goal is really not something that you'd expect. You'd expect more than that from a top 2-3 team in League One. So they'll be a bit disappointed they didn't get more on target. They'll be certainly disappointed they didn't get more shots. But that's brilliant for Crawley, because that proves that they can stop a really technical team like Birmingham from firing off several multiple shots at their net. Because if they can do it against Birmingham, they sure as hell should be able to do it against teams in the bottom half. And absolutely they can. They can play well. Again, they played reasonably well this time for, I'd probably say 20-30 minutes. But the rest of it, they just resiliently defended and tried to catch them on the break, especially when it became clear that it was like 60-70 minutes and actually we could possibly nick a winner. Only to see Birmingham go and nick it themselves on 79. So they both started to play a little bit better and up the ante at the same time, I think. Good game though. I actually enjoyed it. It wasn't a boring game, even though there was only 4 shots on target in the entire game. I thought Birmingham and certainly Stansfield was showing his class through the entire 90 minutes, wasn't it? We said 4-1 to Birmingham. It was 1-0 to Birmingham. We still get a correct result. Please do like and subscribe. We really do need it, guys. And we shall see you with another prediction video quite soon. And it's John S. Sports Channel over and out. Like and subscribe.